Title 42 is actually a CDC public health order which allowed authorities to swiftly expel migrants en masse at the border to prevent the spread of COVID. It was implemented back at the very beginning of the pandemic in March of 2020 and has since been extended several times, first by the Trump administration, then by the Biden White House. But 3 weeks ago, the CDC announced it was suspending the order, saying, quote, after considering current public health conditions and an increased availability of tools to fight COVID-19, such as the vaccines and therapeutics, the CDC director has determined that an order suspending the right to introduce migrants into the United States is no longer necessary. But let's be clear. The U.S. is not prepared for what will undoubtedly be a dramatic surge of migrants if Title 42 is lifted. Some projecting that as many as 18,000 migrants a day could be apprehended while trying to cross the border, more than double the all-time high total. Now, this is not an ideal policy. No one's going to really argue that the CDC should be in charge of border security. But on the issue of immigration, there is very little public policy which is ideal or often intellectually consistent. Republicans are up in arms about potentially lifting Title 42, but so are some moderate Democrats who are putting pressure on the White House to reverse course. Title 42 may just be a necessary evil at the moment. And therein lies the quandary for President Biden. He has promised his base that he would put an end to these Trump-era policies. But even a number of Democrats in Congress are increasingly concerned about the potential ramifications of a migrant surge, particularly ahead of the midterm elections. Democratic senators in swing states have publicly distanced themselves from Biden on this issue. And there's wide concern about how this would all play out in campaign ads. Now, a federal district court in Louisiana has also issued a temporary restraining order delaying the planned May 23rd lifting of Title 42. So, is the White House counting on the courts to do its dirty work? Let's bring in Raul Reyes. He's an immigration attorney. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
So, are they counting on the courts to do their dirty work here?
I wouldn't say they're counting on the courts, but I think as someone who's followed immigration law policy for years, there is a huge difference from our immigration policy in theory and how it plays out in real time on the border. The Biden administration, President Biden, campaigned on his promise to undo all of these immigration measures that President Trump had taken. That was one of his signature promises.
But then you become president,
right,
and then you got to deal with the border,
right,
and then suddenly there are issues that are a little different, right?
Now it's his. And so the problem is, and this is true of many immigration attorneys and advocates that I've spoken with, they say the Biden administration is basically relying on these court delays and these lawsuits to buy them time, to give them a pass maybe through the time of the midterms. And remember, with Title 42, from the beginning, it has been driven by politics. When the CDC implemented Title 42, the directors, the scientists at the CDC refused to implement, to sign off on it. It was only because Mike Pence came in and said, we're doing it, that it was implemented. And that's still the case because, it was, in my view, it was a bad policy under Biden. It's under Trump. It's still a bad policy under Biden. But at some point, 2 years in, he must take ownership and say, this is what we're doing specifically, and not just call for a fair and humane system, because people on the ground want to know, how will that work with 18,000 people arriving at the border?
I think what they need to do is they need to just be more intellectually honest about this, right? Because it's so deceptive what's happening now, right? Which is this effort, it's inhumane and we don't need this anymore. But as a practical matter, they do need it.
And as a practical matter, what is their articulated plan? Okay, they can't just keep saying we're not Trump. That doesn't work. And for me, just having followed this as it's going through, it's driven mostly by politics. When you look at President Biden's approval, which is up and down, depending on the month.
Mostly
but
down.
on immigration, only 37% of Americans approve, and you have 57% disapprove. And that says to me that Republicans are concerned that he's, doing what they call open borders, while Democrats are saying, you promised us new policies. Where are they? And when you try and split the middle like that, you end up with everybody unhappy. And meanwhile, we have a national security and a humanitarian crisis at the border. It's just playing out.
Right. And and you would agree, even as an immigration advocate, you'd agree that if the administration wins in the Supreme Court on the Remain in Mexico policy, and if Title 42 is pulled, we're going to have a disaster at the border.
No, that's not in dispute in any way. Even the people who are the most pro-immigration groups, they stand by all of those estimates and even think that there may be more, because the numbers we get are often distorted by repeat border crossers. So that's just a given. That will happen. And if there happens, as these cases play out, say simultaneously, they could both exacerbate the situation at the same time. But one thing that, to me, does get lost in the process, and the Biden administration, to me, has failed in their messaging on this, is claiming asylum is a legal right. So it's for asylum seekers and refugees. It is not their fault that the Biden administration has not gotten it together to set up a robust asylum process. But they're the ones paying for it. Meanwhile, the Border Patrol are being portrayed as bullies and racist.
And they have an impossible job.
And the border governors are stuck with a tremendous output of resources.
I got to bring in Harry Lippman, former U.S. attorney, legal columnist for the L.A. Times. Harry, welcome back to the show. Appreciate it. All right, so you followed the Supreme Court argument pretty closely here. Do you expect that the Biden administration will ultimately prevail based on what you saw?
Man, it's a real tough one, and observers all in all were down the middle. Look, first of all, just to second everything you and Roel have just said, it's immigration, it's a mess. But basically, the strong point here is if you say we are forced to return these folks to Mexico, you're doing foreign policy for us, and Mexico is sitting there knowing that the courts say we have to return them. This is something one bargains over. You figure out the law says Mexico has to consent. You're putting us in an impossible situation and completely weeding in our garden, the executive's garden of doing foreign policy. Well, that was an argument that appealed to a lot of them.
Right, that's the Biden administration's argument. The Biden administration's argument is we have the discretion to do as we please. It says may, et cetera. But the court, some of the conservatives on the court did seem suspect of that argument.
Well, now the May point that's that's Title 42. The real point is many of them seemed sympathetic to that argument. There were a couple like Kavanaugh who were maybe trying to say procedurally you haven't dotted all your I's and crossed your T's, but they Roberts for sure, the three progressives, possibly Kavanaugh, even Thomas in a way were saying, how can you, Texas and Missouri, just say the United States must return everyone to Mexico? Right. Now it's time to negotiate with Mexico, and you guys are completely stuck. They know that you have to do whatever the court has said. Man, elections have consequences, as Republicans like to say, and this is one that would really put the administration behind the eight ball.
Well, look, I think that in the end, I would expect that the administration is going to be permitted to withdraw the Remain in Mexico policy, but it's the Title 42 part. And I know, look, people are going to say, well, at what point we don't have to wear masks on planes anymore, and you're telling us that crossing the border, we're saying, but you know what? Just let's be honest about it. Yes, it's intellectually inconsistent, but we've got a disaster at the border, and we've got to do something about it. And yes, Title 42 is an imperfect solution, at least for now, but it can't be that we just say, oh, let's just get the border overwhelmed because the CDC has decided that the policy doesn't apply anymore. Look, all these options are no good.
It's been like this. It's been like this forever. It's Chinatown, Jake. It's immigration, and that's real. So the system they would return to would be the same one, but some 1.7 million.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I just wish there was more intellectual honesty around it. That's Harry, Raul. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Important discussion.
Thank you. Thanks, Raul.
Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.